And the film we're going to look at first is Meg to the Trench. Emma, would you like to introduce the clip?
Certainly. Following on from the original Meg, 4 years later, Jason Statham's character Jonas and some of his colleagues have joined up with a team of tech billionaires, and they're investigating the trench. And as is always the case, bad things happen to good people and good sharks. Here's a clip.
3 massive Megs and who knows what else have escaped the breach.
I just hope it goes better than last time.
What happened last time? You don't want to know.
Right, so we'll carry on with you, Emma. Why should we all rush out and spend our good earned dollars on Meg to the Trench?
Well, let's see. Where should I start? As I tell everyone, the film is amazing. Full stop. End of sentence. That's what you should take away. It's amazing. Go see it. It's daft fun, as expected, more so than the original. It does lots of takeoffs of other films. There's a bit of James Bond. There's a lot of Jurassic Park. There's a lot of Jaws, and everything is just much more insane. Yeah, they brought back some of the great characters from before, but we've got the woman who plays Su Yin has, she dropped out of it, so they've given her storyline a very ominous and nondescript death. You get a nice commemorative banner. The guy who plays Mei Ying's uncle in it is actually a really big star in China, and he very much reminded me of Jackie Chan a lot. He's great taking off Jurassic Park in it in several scenes. They all bounce off each other so well, and it's just amazing to see them bringing in the new characters and being able to do that. It's just amazing, and if you think it isn't, you are wrong. I will quite happily boo all the way through your review. Lots of comments I will make along the way.
Yes, I think I've got the ability to mute Emma on here. Right. Andy, what was your take on this?
Okay, so watching this, I was reminded of the famous story of Michael Caine with Jaws the Revenge. When he opened up the script, it said location Bahamas. He closed the script and said, "Tell him I'll do it." And I've heard him tell that story in real life. For me, this was okay. Do you know what? It wasn't as nuts and it wasn't as much fun as I wanted it to be. I was expecting more fun. I was expecting more laughs. There wasn't one laugh out loud at the screening I was at, and it was a fairly packed screening. I was expecting just more fun, a bit more mayhem. It was all a little bit too predictable. And when you go and see a film like the Meg or Meg 2, The Trench, and the shark doesn't appear till about 50 minutes in, I'm starting to think, how much longer is there to go?
Stop all that
nodding. It was
nodding.
ponderous. Sorry, Emma.
Everyone's nodding along. No, bad people.
The opening of the film was ponderous. It was slow.
Meg Light. It was Meg Light.
I was looking at my watch thinking, well, am I in the wrong screen? Is this a documentary about the environment?
I thought it was underwater with Kristen Stewart for one.
Well, exactly. I thought once the sharks appeared, it was fine. But no more than that. There was nothing original. There was nothing that I didn't expect to see. I wanted greater jeopardy, and I didn't get it. So I felt that this flopped like the great big shark does back into the sea with a big splash.
Scott, were you a fan?
I'm afraid I have to concur more with Andy on this one. Sorry, Emma. I expected a lot of fun as well. The trailer built it up to be a fun time at the cinema, sort of stupid entertainment. But yeah, as Andy said, the first half of this film, very little happened in terms of action or excitement. We got the opening that had a bit of a chase fight scene, but in terms of the creature feature stuff, there was nothing there. We were just watching these people in a submarine just chatting away, not really doing anything exciting. I was quite bored, to be honest, which is something I could not expect going into this film. Definitely didn't expect to be bored. And then when we finally do get to the action-packed stuff, it was so silly and over the top, and not in a good way, though. I didn't think the CGI was particularly great for the amount of money this film must have cost. At points, I was reminded of those sort of sci-fi channel films. You know, those sort of like Sharknado, like Sharktopus versus Crocosaurus.
All those amazing
Rangers
films.
of the Lost Shark.
Yeah. All those
Andy, not that one.
horrendously bad movies.
We found Emma's
Good
niche.
movies.
I thought it was a bit like those, but with a bit more budget. Nothing more than that. I'm not entirely sure why Jason Statham agreed to come back to this one as well. I thought she would have been with other actors.
For the money.
I will give it one thing. The actor Paige Kennedy, who played a character called DJ, I found him pretty funny throughout this film. He was definitely the one highlight where every time he was on screen or doing his one-liners, I was like, okay, you're quite amusing. And I don't know if that was just because the film was so bad that I was looking for something to hold on to that was good. But for me, it was the one thing I left that movie thinking, okay, that was bad, that was bad, that was bad, that was bad, that was atrocious. He was fine.
I found him just a throwback to the kind of black, funny secondary characters of a 1980s action movie.
A little bit LL Cool J in Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah. Well,
He's
before
the
then,
only one that learnt from the first film. He learnt. He couldn't
he
swim.
didn't learn enough
That
to
just-
not come back.
Yeah,
But that
sadly
just
we
shows
didn't
how
learn.
stupid the rest of the characters are.
I'm afraid I'm with Andy and Scott on this one, Emma. I'm sorry. I thought the CGI was a real mess. For that underwater fight scene outside the underwater city, which has been miraculously built, right under the noses of the surface thing. This enormous, great undersea mining facility being
says
built without
unexplored.
anybody noticing. But the CGI fight scene, I just couldn't work out what was going on. There was things flashing in front of the camera and back and forwards and what on earth is going on? There was one shining moment, I thought, when they were getting into the airlock and her face mask imploded. I thought that was a nicely done little bit of, is the water going to get down? Is the airlock going to, boom? No.
That was
I thought
one
that
of
was
the
good.
things I didn't like.
But it didn't know what it wanted to be, right? It started off as Jurassic World with the T-Rex thing at the beginning as a kind of back-in-time thing, which was fine if that hadn't been spoiled by the trailer. And then it kept dropping into these different genres, like the undersea, underwater thing, the shark bits, the Jurassic Park bits. It was just such a mishmash. And the biggest shock for me, I think, was at the end. Caption came up, said, directed by Ben Wheatley. I went, what? Right, where is the Ben Wheatliness in this film? I just didn't get that at all.
I was at an event a few weeks ago where Mark Kermode interviewed Ben Wheatley, and he just looked at Ben Wheatley and said, why? And Ben Wheatley didn't really answer the question. He just went bright red. And I'm pretty sure it was for the money, but he just didn't want to say it. I mean, Mark really tore him to shreds interviewing him, and they were just having a laugh at his expense on stage. It got almost embarrassing. But, I mean, Ben Wheatley seems so far out of his league. Why not get in somebody who's an established action director? Ben Wheatley's more your supernatural, horror, slow-moving, steady build-up. I mean, that might explain the beginning, slow-moving.
Was it a lot of it just didn't make any sense? It ends up on this fun island. We were all having fun with this film. And the Megs eventually arrived at this island. But those little dinosaur critters that had presumably swum up out of the hole, they fly as well, right? How did they, A, swim in the same direction as Fun Island and get there before everybody else?
You're quite happy to believe that Barbie came from Barbie land to the real world, but not the creatures coming out of the trench to an island.
I can believe that. It was just the timing, the time scales. Like, I know you loved it, Emma, and I'm happy for you. Scores on the doors. Emma, as if I need to ask.
Clearly, I'm going to have to give it like 100 out of 10 at this point to get the right result, but I suppose I have to go with 10.
Andy?
A 5.
Scott?
4.
I'm a 4 as well, I'm afraid. So that 23 divided by 4 is...
That's a 9, Bob, I think you'll find. 9.
9. Making it a hit?
Yep.
Oh, no. No. 5.75. Making the Meg 2, The Trench. Unfortunately, sorry, Emma. It's so...